Hey, welcome back, friends. Excited to show you the B&W Continuum today. So today, let me get it out there. First and foremost, today is just an install video. This is not going to be the official review. We're going to install it, and I am going to take you on our first tow to get my first impression of how this performs. We got some wind today, so that will be a good first step in giving it a nice thorough review. Now, if you haven't been following the channel, this is the 10th hitch we have done. So we've done hitches from most of the major brands at this point, including ProPride and WaySafe and Anderson, and a lot. You go back in the channel, you can check all of that out. But today's video is installing the Continuum. It's much different than what we've seen before. We've done 10. This is easily, I'd say, top 2 as far as being different. Okay, we're using hydraulics. We got a hydraulic reservoir we install, and there's no big bars coming down the sides, or there's no big huge head unit over here. It's pretty sleek. I'd say, as far as looks, it wins the look battle for sure. I do like that. And but yeah, today will just be an install video and a first impressions video. I hope that you'll stick around. Okay, friends, let's take a look at what we're doing here. I've got all of the parts set out, ready to go. I'm not doing this for the video. I find this useful. Even if I wasn't doing a video, I would put all of these parts out so I could see, especially the hardware. I don't like digging through a bag trying to find all the hardware. So this is how this would look even if I wasn't doing a video. But supposedly, we need a ratchet. We need some sockets. Most of the socket use will be 9/16 according to the instructions. We've got a torque wrench. Now, let me tell you, I know some of you out there, because I've done it in the past too. I've learned my lessons years ago, but a lot of you might try to cheat and not use a torque wrench. You're just going to give it a good old tightening, and that should do it. Let me tell you, in this particular one, you need to go buy one, borrow one, rent one, because you're going to be torquing into aluminum, and you don't want to screw that up. Okay, so we've got the torque wrench here. We've got the head unit. We've got the bars behind that. You can see that nice blue powder coat right there. It's a pretty hitch, guys. I know that sounds silly to say, but and then we've got the mount for the hydraulic tank, and we've also got what would you call the yoke assembly? Maybe I don't know what you exactly call it. It's going to go right here in the A-frame. We'll talk about that in just a second. And finally, hardware, measuring tape, pencil, and a razor. So one thing they said, the instructions, yes, I did read the instructions, that you're going to want to give this vent hose for the hydraulic system a nice clean cut to avoid leaks. So use a fresh razor on that, or a vent hose cutter. Now, I know that I'm going to have to remove my propane tank cover, my propane tanks, and possibly the tray. And I'm almost certain, unfortunately, I'm going to have to relocate the brake pin controller right here. I think it's going to have to go back a little bit, maybe underneath my my propane. So I hate having to do that, but I think because that assembly is going to go right in this area here, this is probably going to get in the way. We'll find out. First thing I got to do, hey Brooke.
Hey.
She's over here hanging out with me. You got in the shot by accident, sorry. So yes, my wife hangs out with me while I'm installing a hitch. I'm a lucky man. So yeah, the first thing I got to do is install the head right here. All right, the first thing we got to do, according to B&W, is put in our head unit. And just so happens I need 25 inches of ball height here. Now, if you don't know how to do that on your own, I know that because I've done a lot of these hitches. But if you don't know how to do that, what you'll do is you'll get your trailer level, you'll measure your coupler height, and then you'll take that height, you'll add a couple of inches, and that's how high your ball should be, because obviously your trailer is going to push down on this hitch a little bit. But I need 25 inches, so let's get this in here. This is a nice chunk of steel. Watch your toes. I like using a locking pin. It just keeps honest thieves away. All right, there we go. So right now, let's see where we are. I need 25. I'm at 23 and a half, 23 and a quarter maybe. So luckily B&W has made this super simple to adjust. In a lot of other hitches, you've got the nut and the bolt. They're big nuts, big bolts. You got to have a big sockets, they're big crescent wrenches to deal with them, and you got to torque them down like crazy. Not here. All right, this is great. So I've got my little pin over here. Pull my pin, pull this big pin, pull that pin, and now support. Make sure to support this, okay? going to support it down here actually. I'll pop this up a little bit. I'm going to go one up. There we go. Got that one and that one. And that is undoubtedly the easiest hitch head I have ever adjusted for any of these weight distribution hitches. If you don't know, this is number 10. We're on number 10. It's our 10th hitch we have tested. So I think I mentioned that in the intro. But yeah, let's see where we are. Dead on 25, so we should be good here. Let's get to working on all of the stuff we need to mount to the trailer. I got a little pencil here. Doesn't matter what you use, chalk, pencil, whatever. Make sure to mark where your cover lands on your frame. So I'm just using this little carpenter pencil to mark where my cover lands. All right, now they tell you to go ahead and remove your tank covers. If you've never removed these tank covers, it's very, very simple. Most of the time, it's a tiny little cheap bungee under there, hooking two tabs together, and it just slides right off, just like that. So what I'll have to do now is I'll make sure these are closed, and then I'll unhook these. That one, and then I'll loosen those right here in the middle. This is for free, how to undo your propane. This is free in this video. That goes flying, so remove that. Now they're unsecured, and you can just remove them to the side. All right, the first thing B&W asks you to do on the frame of the trailer is install the hydraulic pump bracket. So that's what we've got here. You got a couple of, I think these are 3 3/8 length bolts. There's only 2 of them, so you can't screw that up. But yeah, you got different holes here for different size frames. They tell this is a 5-inch frame, so they tell me that's the 3rd one down. So I'll go there, and then I'll take the other side. This is very similar to putting saddles on, you know, a traditional wheelbarrow type hitch, and it's a little bit funky. So let's make sure that's even. This is a little bit odd here. I just want to start this nut. I don't know if you can see that, but make sure to start this nut on this side so it doesn't fall out. Okay, we've got that done. Don't give you a whole lot of bolt to work with there. And then you're going to see there's a little area down here. Can you see that? Yep. And yeah, that's going to go in and attach to the bottom of the other side of the bracket. So yeah, let's get this torqued down. Now, a good question is, I haven't torqued these down yet, by the way. A good question, got carried away. You get in a hurry with these things. But how far away from your propane tank cover should you mount this? And B&W suggests 4 inches. So we're gonna bump that down about another inch, and that should be good. Now, very important, just like saddles on a normal weight distribution hitch, make sure to tighten these down evenly. I'm starting to start to get them tight, and then I'm going to get the torque wrench. They're telling me 40 foot-pounds for these. So let's do that. All right, guys, so next thing to be installed is the hydraulic pump. And for these, you're going to need these flange nuts right here. And relatively simple. Relatively, it is very simple. Just pops in just like that. You've already got your 2 pre-drilled holes over here lined up. And this is the one you're really, I mean, it's important anytime they ask you to use a torque wrench. There is a reason for that. But when you're dealing with aluminum, like, the importance goes up a little bit. But yeah, you should always use the torque wrench for sure. Now also, during this installation, I'm going to have to measure this vent tube right here. What I probably should have done is I wonder if I should come under here. Yeah, okay. So we'll be good right here. I should be able to cut it. I've got a plug right here. I'll have to cut that with a little bit of extra to make sure that can install right there. I think that's later on down the road. But yeah, let's go ahead and get these installed right quick. Very unique setup sitting on the side of your rig right here. It's pretty cool. All right, I've gotten those hand tightened, and then let's see what we got here. It's not going to be much. I mean, this is a pretty big torque wrench, so. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Very nice. All right. And this one. All right, there we go. All right, guys, next up we got to install the hydraulic pump. So we'll see how we can do that. Well, we've got this part that goes on the A-frame. That drops in just like that. And then you can see I've got this hole here. I've got to line that up and get this pin through that area right there. So that's going to be a little tricky to do. Let me see if I can, what I may have to do is take it all the way to one side and see if I can get that lined up. We're pretty close. There it goes. Yeah, so just when you're doing that one, maybe just take it, this unit right here, and slide it all the way to that side so you can give clearance for that pin, and then it ended up going in fairly easily. Now, I didn't show you this. I looked at it right after I put that in. Make sure to reinstall that little cotter pin on that big silver pin you just put in over there. All right, next will come our top washer plates. So that's these parts here. We're going one right here and one over here. And then we're going to drop down our big old bolts right here. And then one going to come outside of that frame. One over here as well. Over here. There we go. Got that one. And then what we use underneath the frame are these units here. Now, if you got a 6-inch frame, you're going to mount it flush to this part. If you've got a 5-inch frame, they tell you to flush the U, or to mount with the U facing upwards. So it'll look something like that. So I've got a 5-inch. If you had a 6-inch, you'd turn it around and mount it flush. All right, just to clarify on that one, since sometimes I'm not very clear. Like I said, if you had a 6-inch frame, you would mount this piece flush to the frame. So in my case, I have a 5-inch frame, so I'm going to turn that around and I'm going to be mounting it this way. So let's get here, and understand I'm not tightening anything down right now. I'm just getting things started. And I'll get all of these started, and then we will go back after that. We'll just kind of hand tighten them, make sure we've got clearances, and then we'll come back after that and make sure we're at 40 foot-pounds again. So far everything's been 40 foot-pounds, and kind of simple, easy to remember. But yeah, let me go ahead and get, I've got 2 on this side and I've got 2 on the other side. You don't need to see it. Let me get that knocked out. All right, so the only information we have on how far forward or back to mount the hydraulic cylinder is to just go as far back as you can without touching the your tank. So my tank cover is going to be right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to bump that back a little bit and make sure we're even here. We're going to measure even right here and right here. Make sure all that's good, and then we're gonna tighten it down. Wanted to clarify that because I'm thinking, surely to goodness, there's an information on how far forward or backwards to mount this thing, and there is, as far back as you can go. Now, that's the rule. Unfortunately, I'm confirming that I'm going to have to relocate this safety brake pin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to relocate it back here a good bit, far enough to where the pin can disengage fully, and this is not blocking it. If the worst were to happen, we want to make sure that that pin can make it all the way out and lock these brakes up again if the worst were to happen. Now, I wanted to make sure I showed you that I relocated this one back a few inches, but make sure I showed you that you can, that does have room to pull out, and then it pops back in, just like that. Now it's at this point we can go ahead and reinstall our propane and propane covers. Next, we want to make sure that we have 0 chrome showing here on the hydraulic cylinder up here, so we're good to go there. So the next step is to pull this plug out and then install this vent hose. So I'll need to make sure that's facing backwards. I'm going to cut a little bit of extra right here to make sure that's a flush mount. It's between the frame and this reservoir right here. So yeah, we should be good to go. Now, the tricky part is, how hard is it to get this plug out? It tells me to push in on the blue fitting to remove the plug from the air hose fitting. Push in. Oh, that was easy. Okay, there's that. Now I'm gonna measure. I've got a nice sharp razor blade here for this, so I can see where it has a little flange, and I'm gonna cut a little bit longer than that. So I'm gonna go about right here with a razor. And they're very specific to use a razor. So that's what we've got. I don't want to scratch my aluminum though. Real time, folks, real time. Almost. There we go. Nice clean cut right there. And then we're going to come in from this side and insert it. And you'll feel it go all the way in. So yeah, you make sure to give plenty of extra. And I think we're good to go right there. Now I felt it went in probably about a little over 1/4 of an inch. And then it went another 1/8 of an inch or so. And I think now we're good to go. And I think that little blue fitting is what's locking it in. Okay, now I need to couple the truck and the trailer. All right, now comes some fun part here. Make sure my mic's working. Yep. Okay. Now comes the big set of forks that this hitch is already famous for. And carefully put them down here. I'm trying to be really careful. I don't want to scratch it up. Right there. Can you see that? Am I in your way? Let me see if I can get this a little bit better. Maybe that's a little bit better. This is a tough angle here. So they tell me to put it in the middle hole there. So let me grab that pin. And got my bushing on the one side. And clear that just like that. Go to the other side. Make sure I install my bushing on that side as well. Make sure we're in there. Okay. That looks like that's got us. Let's reinstall this pin right here over on this side. And now, supposedly that part is good to go. All right, for the next step, it tells me to open this and always, according to B&W, always hand tighten or loosen this. So I'm going to open this up. It didn't really tell me how much, but then I'm going to extend. I can't do it yet. You know what? They gave me a good tip. I'm going to stand on these. So let me get back, and that should be fun to watch. So B&W was pretty good about sending me a couple of videos about installing this thing. They told me to go back and stand on this thing. So I guess that's what we're going to do. I mean, it should take it, right? I don't want to scratch it. That's my problem. But it's probably going to get scratched anyway. That scratched it. Okay, it is not moving at all. All right, I got it fully extended. I did have to stand on it with all of my weight to get that extended. Well, I should say all of my weight, probably 100 pounds of my weight, and it did come down. So you can see that all of that chrome hydraulic cylinder right there. So yeah, now we hook it up. Get you closer up here. Now we're gonna hook it up to this bad boy. And supposedly, I really don't want to pinch my fingers there, but that's supposed to be spring loaded. Supposedly we're hooked in right now. So you can see what happens there. There is a little pin right there that's angled that you slide in. I had to push it down a little bit. But yeah, that's got us hooked in. And now the thought process is that we pump this up, it's going to distribute weight to the front. So now we got to get involved with measuring that. Okay, so B&W gives you some great information here on how to adjust for your weight distribution. How much weight are we going to put back on that front axle. So right now we have no weight distribution. I'm going to go measure the front wheel well in just a minute, but very interestingly, it says some vehicles give you a front axle load restoration value, and it's expressed as a percentage of the trailer load on the rear tires. So I thought that was interesting, and it said if your vehicle gives you that, it'll be found in your owner's manual. Well, I looked in my owner's manual, and I looked specifically in the towing area, and yeah, this owner's manual doesn't give me that information, but you can check your owner's manual. It might very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the old school. I'm going to check my wheel wells when I'm here at loaded up, and then I'm going to unhook and see what my wheel well measurement in the front is here, and then we're going to go somewhere in the middle. They recommend between 50 and 90%. You don't really want to go back to 100%. But yeah, let's go ahead and get all that done. I've actually done this in another video, so I'm not going to go through all of that, but I will give you my measurements, and I'll show you how to calculate what we need right here on this gauge. All right, guys, so my unloaded height was 40.5 inches. My loaded height was 41 inches, so we needed to get to 40 and 7/8. And so you can see my two little marks right there where I had my tape measure. And we are at 40 and 7/8. We are properly distributed. And I gotta say, it's pretty cool playing with this thing. Now, what you do is you get properly distributed, and then you come over here and you find what your PSI is. So for me, it's about 1750. That's where I'm gonna hang out, at least for the first couple of tows, to see how this thing performs. And yeah, but the most fun for this, and this is just me being a child, is you can take it off and you can see the whole thing drop, and then you can tighten it back up, and you see you've got your handle here, but it's also got, push it in, rotate it, and now it extends for you, so you can, it's more fun to watch it raise up. 500. Just raising the truck. There we go. And I'll push that back in. My last pump over here should get me about to 1750 again. There we go. And we're distributed again. So pretty cool. Let's take this thing for a drive. We got a little bit of wind today, so it'll get a little test, and I'll be able to tell a whole bunch just by this first test. But of course, like I said, it's not going to be a full review. So first tow, I want to show you, we got some good wind. Got some good wind today, and so yeah, we'll see what we get. I felt like install was pretty straightforward. I don't know how well, you know, I haven't edited this video yet to chop out some of the fat, but the install was pretty simple. Yeah, just mount a couple of brackets and measure your wheel wells, you're ready to go. So in that regard, pretty good, pretty easy install. All right, we're about to get up here. You can see you can see the storm clouds. We've got some wind, from wind gusts, I guess I should say. And so we'll get going here in just a second on the divided highway. I'll get it up to about 65, which is my normal towing speed. So we'll see how it does. I'll be able to tell. 7.3 stretching her legs a little bit. You know, so far 7.3, I've been very happy with it. You know, I've heard some people talking about some lifter issues at 30,000, 40,000 miles, and if you do a little bit of research on that, it looks like Ford just got a bad batch of lifters during a certain production dates, and yeah, they're having to remedy that. But I don't think my production dates were included, so I'm at 34,740 right now, and yeah. So, all right. So here's what I'm looking at right now. We're doing 65. And I'm just seeing how floaty it is. How much is it floating around? This is my normal speed right here, and really looking at the back end is what I'm looking at. So that's what I'm paying attention to when I'm not looking at the GoPro or the road, mostly the road. so far we're good. I'm trying to see what the trees look like, see how windy it is. You know, when these hitches perform very well, you can't tell how windy it is. But man, some of them, you can definitely tell the wind's whipping. You're like floating all over the place back there. Here's a test of porpoising. Here it is right here. Okay, so porpoising is pretty good. Yeah, there's been some hitches that would be a nice little 3 or 4 or 5 bounces. There was another bounce. It got one little bounce and it corrected it. So porpoising, I can already say, is probably going to be good. I'll again make sure we put a bunch of miles on this, but porpoising is good. So those arms must be pretty legit. They're pretty stout. And so far, this thing's performing pretty good. I can see the treetops moving a little bit. There's nothing crazy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to tell you guys I'm towing in 70-mile-an-hour winds. It's not that at all. It's just, you know, some of these hitches at this point, they're floating all over the place. The back end's moving, you know, 6-8 inches, moving around a good bit. But this one seems to be doing pretty good. Here's a little tractor trailer. We'll see what we get. Truck suck. Truck suck's not as bad when you're passing. I got 0 truck suck there. But when they pass you, it seems to be a little more intense sometimes. But that truck's still moving air, so yeah, that was good. We got to hit one tractor trailer. That won't, you know, that doesn't do enough for the review. We'll have to live with it a little bit longer, but that was a good first step. All right, friends, there you go. So the install and first impression of the B&W Continuum. Thank you, B&W, for sending this hitch. You guys know they know we've done 9 other hitches, so it took some guts to send it out. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But yeah, first tow, it seems to be doing very well. I don't have any complaints. We actually got a little bit of side wind on this particular tow. We had one tractor trailer that it did well with. The porpoising seems to be under control. No problems there. Those composite bars seem to be doing their job, at least, this short little tow. But this is not the true review. Like I said, we'll do the true review after we spend significant time with it. We hook it up and unhook it, 20, 30 times, maybe more than that, and see if there's any type of learning curve for you guys to look for. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was useful. I will link this down in the description box below. And I think for the review video, if you're still watching, you'll be in the know for this one. In the review video, I think B&W is going to give away one of these hitches. So that will be pretty cool. Thanks, B&W. So anyway, guys, I hope it's useful. Hope you guys are good. See ya.